All right, guys, I'm back at it here today. I ran out of time the other day. It's a couple days later, and I've been off camera. I've been trying to figure out exactly how I want this roof for this greenhouse. It's going to be a gambrel style to give us extra headroom. I'll walk you through what I did to figure out the rafters. All right, this was a little bit complicated, and I'm going to try to do the best I can to explain it. I essentially laid out a perfectly square 2x4 box, and I measured to the center, figured out what I wanted my ceiling height to be, and then I laid out the frame on top of it. That way everything stays square. The two gambrel rafters, which are laid out right there, they have 22.5-degree angles on them. There's one that's 50.5 inches and one that's 48 inches. And then the bottom piece is going to be a 2-foot knee wall that it's all going to sit on. So I'm going to make up all these rafters. It's a lot of cutting and a lot of fabricating, but I think it'll be really strong. It'll hold up in the wind here. So let's get right to it. All right, now a little bit more explaining. I just realized something I don't think I mentioned. I already have the plastic for this greenhouse because I was planning on covering the PVC greenhouse. So we'd already ordered the plastic. So I was trying to make these bows, the wood bows, so that they were no more than 20 feet total all the way down to the ground, because I have a 22-foot by 42-foot piece of plastic. So that's why I made the dimensions the way I did with the 2-foot knee wall. I had to drop it down a little bit just to get that so the plastic would cover. So one 10-foot 2x4 will do half of each truss. I've got my top piece. I saved all my templates here, cleaned up my mess here a little bit, but I just simply lay them on top, bring it out to the end, and mark these. And I've got my saw set at 22.5 degrees, so I can get three pieces essentially out of each 2x4 by 10. I marked these as template just so I don't lose them. I've got 3 pieces here that are all marked as a template, and then we're simply going to cut them all out of this 10-foot 2x4. Get that to line up. It's going to be a lot of cutting. I'm not going to show all of it, obviously, because that would bore you guys. But I'm going to go ahead and just show you cutting one. Sorry about the traffic noise. There's quite a bit of traffic today. So that's my top piece. I'm just going to mark this with a T for top. Start making a pile down here. And then my next piece, I'm just going to roll that over. It's going to be the bottommost rafter. And then what's left will be my knee wall. Nice thing about a gambrel, it gives you a lot of extra headroom. I'll set this back to 90 for this because it's got to sit on top of this knee wall. So I'm going to cut all the pieces, and then I'll show you guys how we put them together. Now I'm cutting what's called a gusset. I made a template. This is going to reinforce all the joints on the gambrel roof. Just making it out of OSB, and then I'll show you how that fastens in. But I'm going to cut this one. And now I'll show you how we fasten this. I'm going to use staples in this case. I've got a Senko stapler, shoots 1.5 inch staple. Should be perfect for this. They're coated staples so they won't pull out. You just line up your joint, get it nice and tight together. This is going to go over the top, so I'll fasten. And I want it just a little bit down from the top so it doesn't rub on the plastic. Staples on that side, and I can get this joint nice and tight together. Make sure that we're lined up good. We are. It's nice and tight. So I'm not going to be afraid to really staple the heck out of this thing. This is really what adds the strength. Now we'll do the same thing on the rest of the joints, and we'll have a completed rafter truss. Line up the joint really nice, especially the top. You want the top nice and tight and flush. Helps have a nice flat surface. I'm trying to work on the kind of uneven ground here, so it's a little tough. I may actually tack this joint together before I put the gusset on. Just to keep it from moving. So there we have it. One completed truss. Now the reason that I did one instead of cutting all the pieces, I just want to make sure 100% certain that it works. It does look like I've got to shorten the two bottom pieces a little bit, which I can do with my skill saw, just to get everything to line up. Because I've got to fit within a 10'3" footprint of the old greenhouse. So by laying the truss over that square frame that I had made, that just basically I just screwed some 2x4s together, made a perfect square 8 feet high by the exact width of the greenhouse, 10'3". Excuse me. I've evened up the truss and pulled it down to where it hits here, because I know it's a little too wide as is. It actually is like 10'6", which is way wider than I need it to be. So to get the right knee wall height, I'm going to cut this right at this joint with that same 22.5-degree angle right across on each side. That way everything stays nice and even, and then I can go ahead and cut all the rest of the trusses, and they're going to match this perfectly. I'm using my speed square here in this case to get this at exactly 22.5 degrees. There, that should be perfect if I cut that right there. And then my knee wall, I'm going to have to make a little taller than I had planned. Will end up being 29.25. This is a little bit of a process. Can't say as I've ever framed a Gambrel roof before, so this is kind of, I'm figuring it out as I go. Done a lot of framing, of course, but this is a new one for me. Just trying to get extra headroom. So I'll get this cut, and then I will see you guys when got a bunch of trusses. All right, guys, I'm on my last truss here now. It's worked pretty good. I had set them up on some 2x4s, and then I'm just piling them as I go. I've got 11 of them total. And I had to scrounge up some more OSB, so I used some zip board that I had kicking around, but this is, all in all, has gone pretty good. If you'd like the dimensions, kind of my plan for this, just put a message in the comments, and I will reply with the dimensions. It's all pretty simple once you get the angles. Having a stapler is really beneficial in this case too, because it would suck to screw all these. But if you don't have a stapler, screwing it is perfectly fine. The next step is going to be the knee walls, which I may actually assemble right in place. I don't know if you can see behind me, but I'll change the camera so you can see. I did tack one up in place. That'll be the starter panel, which is going to go around the face of the frame, and then I'll have to notch all the uprights for the knee wall portion of it. I'll have to notch all those so that they all flush up at the same point. I'm going to pre-assemble these onto the trusses the same way that I did with the gussets and staples to fasten them together. And then once they're up, they'll be bracing horizontally between everything running down this knee wall, and same thing on the ridge. It'll have bracing in between each of the bows. The bows are going to be 4 feet apart. So I'm going to get right to it and get these cut and get them fastened onto the trusses. Now, in the making of the gussets for the bottom portion to connect the leg, essentially, I've made a template of what I have installed. So I'm just going to simply got 18 of these to cut, so it made sense to make a template and just cut them all like this, mark them all, rip them on the saw. So I just thought I'd point that out. It helps, you know, make a template whenever you can if you're replicating a lot of things, and it'll come in handy. I think that's going to do it for tonight. It's been a long day of figuring all this stuff out. There'll be more videos coming, so stay tuned. I'm going to follow this through all the way to the end. The next video we'll be finishing up the knee walls, getting those installed, and then once that's done, we'll start laying out these bows and get them all braced, and then get the end panels in. It's really not a whole lot left, but it's more than one video's worth of information. So thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.